Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that you're coming back to my YouTube channel, and I have a very special guest today, Tony.
Hi,
We went through
everybody.
we went through some technical difficulties trying to get this entire thing up, but thank God Tony knows me, and we rode that storm.
Listen, we ride it out every time. That's what the bros do. Come
Yeah,
on.
thank God. Thank God.
How are
So
you?
I'm I'm not angry. I'm fine.
I can
I
tell. I can tell.
I was like, I'm a calm person. I'm gonna try and get this going because I know that we can chat constantly.
Yeah.
So, quick intro for Tony. If you do not know who Tony is, she's like the queen of Tunisian crochet. She's written a book called the Tunisian Crochet Handbook. It is beautiful. You, I feel like, are such a staple when it comes to the crochet community, and if they don't follow, like chances are, even if people may not know who you are, chances are they have seen your hands teaching them how to crochet, how to do Tunisian, tons of different things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm so excited that you're here because we've actually known each other for quite a long time.
Mhm.
We used to do we used to do lives, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of how we all like started hanging out. I feel like you did your lives on Tuesdays.
Mhm.
Melissa from Windsor Wool did hers on Wednesdays, and then
Mhm.
I did my on Thursday. So it was like an education station. Like it was like a
Yeah,
train.
seriously. It was a whole lineup like every week, and I feel like people would just boom, boom, boom all week long, between our live streams. That was such a great time.
Yeah. I also found because we started a thing called Maker Strong, and I found this in my like closet
Oh my
because we
gosh,
knew
I
it had
haven't
merch.
seen it in so long. Oh
I
my God.
know.
Wow. Blast from the
I
past,
know. I
baby.
went back into like, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if that Instagram page is still up. And our first post comes from like October 17th, 2017.
Oh, we've been at this for a minute. It's like we grew up together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really feels
Um,
like it.
I know. And thank you for
Mhm.
always like being the person that I'm like, hi, I have business questions. Please answer them.
Like, call me anytime because vice versa. When I got stuff going on, I'm like, listen, everybody needs like a community. They need like that little niche of people to go to and be like, hey, I don't know how to do this. Please help, please.
Please, please help. Okay, so today we're going to essentially run down a little bit more about TL Yarn Crafts, but then
Yeah.
we're going to get into like the spiciness. When I asked you what you wanted to talk
Mhm.
about, you were like, let's burn it down. Let's bring
Yes,
spice.
spice level on 10, baby. Let's go.
So I have like a bunch of like technically like speed round questions because I know that we only have like 40 minutes to get this like
Oh my God,
done.
do it.
And some of them are like both of us were like,
Hmm?
what are you gonna answer? So first of all, like what made you start TLYC?
Um, you know what? Teal Yarn Crafts was like not ever intended to be a business. It was just supposed to be like a side thing to do because I
Yeah.
got back into crochet when I was looking for a job way back when. And I started crocheting on the side and like in between applying for jobs, finally found a job, kind of kept up the crochet, and it became a business because I was sharing my stuff online because I started doing craft shows. I had a whole bunch of like extra
Mm.
stuff that I was making. So I was like, I'm just gonna do craft shows for fun to get some of these hats out of my house. I started sharing stuff on Instagram, and folks were like, "Hey, we want the pattern for that." And I was like, "Huh."
Fuck
I
yeah,
like
that's
had
awesome.
never considered that I could write patterns. I'd been buying patterns and following patterns for years at this point, but I was like, "Wow, people want a pattern for something that I just kind of randomly free-handed for my craft show booth." So I wrote up my very first pattern, which was my Mega Palm beanie. It was terrible. It was like a really, like I look back at that original pattern and I was like, oh gosh, like it's a little bit cringy, honestly,
Yeah.
but people got through it back then. I don't remember getting a whole bunch of complaints. I also don't remember getting a whole bunch of sales early on, but I was trying my best. But I went back and like I revamped it and I took better photos and I made new
Yeah.
samples and like that's kind of how it grew and changed. And that's really where TL Yarn Craft started with that first pattern. And then, once the sales did start coming in and more requests of like, do you have a matching scarf? Or, what if I wanted to make hand warmers? And I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's just see where this goes. And that's really where it started. It was all by chance, just kind of like listening to my audience early on.
I also feel like there's so many of us that were like, we kind of started because we had too much shit and we have
Yeah.
to like sell it and like get it out there.
There's only so many people you can gift stuff to. After a while, they're like, okay, girl, I still have the hat from last year. Like, I'm straight. We can.
Don't need any more things. Did you ever imagine like TL Young Crafts to get as big as it had? Like, I feel like you've got some like hefty follower accounts. Like, did
Yeah.
you just hit like how many did you hit on YouTube?
We just passed 900,000 on YouTube. I've got like 290,000 followers on Instagram, a little over 100,000 on my newsletter list. Like there are definitely some really big communities, and you could not have told me back in 2013 that even I would be doing this full
Full
time.
time?
Like I never imagined. I always thought it would be something on the side. That was the original plan. And eventually, the yarn money starts superseding the job money, and you're like, I don't know. So, thankfully, I have a husband who is like gainfully employed with health
Yeah.
insurance, and that was like the last thing that I had
Bless.
to pick off. I know, right? I was like, because that's what we really need. So, once I convinced him, like, you can never quit your job if I do this, I was like, you can't ever leave because health insurance is too expensive. And he was like, it's fine. I'm gonna ride this one out. I was like, sweet. So, once I finally made that decision to quit my job, I was like, okay, we're both feet in. Like we're in the deep end
Yeah.
of the pool and we're gonna make this work. Because after about 6 months, I was like, man, I'm not going back to nobody's office. Never. Like I can't,
It's like
I
you have
can't
your own
do it.
schedule and you're like, I can't imagine getting into the car like
Seriously.
at 8:30
Every day.
driving to a certain place and then having to like pretend to work there. Because sometimes I feel like, especially in like a full-time job, you have like certain ebbs and flows of you're just
Yeah.
like, I have a busy day or don't have a busy day. And then like the days that you don't have a busy day, you're just like, please don't let anyone realize that I'm reading on my screen.
Seriously. I mean, it got to the point really in those last few months of my day job, I was doing more teal yarn craft stuff on the clock than, and it's like you don't want to say that too loud, but I mean, that's what it is. And that's what
Yeah.
really like helped me realize that this is viable. I'm like, I'm spending so much time on this and still even just like taking a few hours out of my workday, making more doing
Yeah.
yarn stuff than I am with my day job. I know that's not the case for everyone. And I know that there are some folks who have like super important jobs, like doctors and lawyers and stuff. So, they're gonna do yarning on
They're
the
like
on the side.
hands in. They're like, I can't
Yeah.
crochet at the same time. I'm like,
No,
I'm
like I get
screwed.
right. You take a break from the surgery, like, let me check my gauge really quick, like no. But I mean, I worked in HR, which I absolutely
Yeah.
love. But like when it was time for me to quit my job, I was like, worst case, I can find another HR job. Like
Yeah.
I can make that happen for myself. So that was the risk of quitting the day job. I think I made that risk as low as possible before I finally stepped out. So it never felt like, oh my gosh, we're jumping off a cliff and I hope this works. Like, no, it was like
Yeah.
almost a year in the making of like saving money and like slowly transitioning out of my job until I was like, okay, we're good. We're gonna be fine.
I love
Yeah.
it. And I also love that it's just like the idea of something that started off so small of just being
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna like do this a bit, just became
Yeah.
something so much bigger. For your company, like, is there things that like are on the horizon that you are really excited about? Like, I'm curious, like, are there things that you're like, oh, I haven't done that yet, and I feel like I
Yeah.
really want to get to it?
Yeah, what's so interesting is like I have a crafty like business related bucket list and I've been like ticking things off and I've maintained this list for like a few years in my notes app and there's like only a couple things left. So like one of the things is about to happen. So later on this year I'm actually going to be releasing a set of metal Tunisian crochet hooks. So which is so exciting and
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
that is something that a few years ago, or even back when I learned Tunisian crochet back in like 2017, I never in a million years imagined that I would be like creating tools with my name on it.
Yeah.
So, that is something that's super exciting. I also came out with like two different lines of yarn, which is really cool. Wrote a book, which is nice. I get to travel around and teach. Like, listen, I know, check, 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 all the way down the list. Honestly, all I'm waiting for now is for somebody to pay me to go overseas to travel, and that's happening next year as well.
I was
So
gonna say, I was like, that hasn't happened yet.
not
Like,
just yet. So like I've gone to Canada, obviously,
yeah.
and like all over the United States, but I hadn't gone international yet. So gratefully next year I'm going to be teaching at a retreat in Costa Rica in February, and then I'm going to be going to the Crochet Guild in Australia in
Oh my
June.
God.
I know.
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
God.
Listen, my passport, she stay ready. She's so ready to go. I just got new luggage and everything. I was like, I know it's months from now, but I just need to be prepared.
Okay,
So,
my like inner like dream is to go to Costa Rica. I have like I
yeah.
really love sloths, and all I want to
Oh,
do, and they're like all over Costa Rica. And there's also like
yeah.
a rescue sanctuary there that Todd is like he's like sponsored, like I've sponsored a sloth, and all I want to
Oh
do
my
is go to Costa
God.
Rica and help
I
them
want to
move from
go
one
see
side of the road to the other.
my. Well, you let me know where your sloth is. We'll take a selfie together. I'll send it to you. Be
Will
like, your
do.
baby's doing fine.
Oh my God, I love it.
Cool. Well,
Okay,
you
so I
will
know that
get
we
there. Like
are.
just manifest it. Say it out loud as many times as possible. You'll get there, girl.
Send me to Costa Rica. Send me to Costa Rica. Send me to Costa Rica. I can knit in Costa Rica. I can literally do it. If anyone wants to take me to Costa Rica, please let me know. Okay,
Yes.
let's get into the spicy. Since we're already talking about Costa Rica and it's hot. Look at that segue, Chantel. My God.
Nice
Um,
job.
let's talk about the spicy thing. So,
Yeah.
we wanted to chat about hot takes. And
Hmm.
I think we can do these as fast or as quick as we want. I
Okay.
know that I gave us, I think, like 15 of them. So
Yeah.
we can answer them like rapid fire. Otherwise, we can take our time because we also have a
Sure.
speed round at the very, very end, which is something that
Okay.
I started doing in my like lives
I
a
love
while
it.
ago. That last question better not trip you up, Tony, because I'll be so mad. Okay, hot take.
Hot
Is it
take.
okay to share a pattern with a friend?
So I was thinking this over when you sent the questions over because that was like the very first one, and I kid you not, like it had me stumped for a second because like I feel like there's two sides of my brain here, right? The designer side of my brain is saying like, hell no, don't you dare. That is so rude. Please don't do that to us. And then the other side of my brain, like the practical maker side, is like, man, if my best friend comes over and she's like, hey, did you get that such and such pattern? I wanted to check that out. Listen, girl, I'm gonna give her the pattern. I'm gonna give it to her. I am. I'm gonna be honest with you. I will. And even as a designer, I am saying I am probably going to give that to her. Now, I'm not gonna do that often. And if she
Yes,
asks me like the second time or the third time, I'll be like, okay, girl, it's time for you to buy
not
your own
happening.
patterns. But like every now and then, yes, because like practically speaking, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna make her go pay another $8, $9 for something that I've already paid for and have access to. So like as a designer, I assume that people are sharing patterns. I just assume that they
Yeah.
are, to a degree. But I would hope that people are rather decent and are not like sharing all their patterns, which happens sometimes, which is so
Oh
frustrating.
my
But
God, hearing about all of the like Discord channels where people are just like sharing things where I'm like,
yeah,
that
that is
is
not okay.
that is not okay.
Not
I'm on
okay.
the like, I guess you can sway me, but I think it's also just like, I think to me,
Hmm.
I think there's a difference between like giving some like if you're at a knit night and someone
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, I don't know how that is made,"
Hmm.
I will shove the pattern to them and be like,
Sure.
"This is a certain section." To
Yeah.
me, if they take a little screenshot of like a small little bit, I'm like,
Hmm.
totally fine. But
Yeah.
when it comes to like me like handing, I struggle. And I think
Yeah.
it's just because like I keep on thinking of these things being like, and everyone goes, "But I'm just giving it to my mom." And I'm
Right.
like, if everyone gave it to their mom, all of a sudden I've lost so much money. And but I think it's just like I do totally understand where I'm like, if it's like a
Yeah.
one-off thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you know that that person is going to go back to that designer because it is technically a form of marketing too, where it's like if
Hmm.
they really like that, that's what I find with like free patterns in the first place, where it's like
Definitely.
if they like it, they might come back. I
Hmm.
just think I have to agree. It's one of those things that it's like it is not a repetitive thing.
It absolutely can't be a repetitive thing. And I
Yeah,
have reconciled with the fact that it is a level of marketing because within my business model, I do a ton of free patterns, like a
yeah,
whole bunch between videos or like downloadable PDFs, things on my blog. I give away a whole lot of content. And the
yeah,
whole idea being you're going to keep coming back because you liked this one, you're going to come check out the next one and the next one. So if somebody gives somebody a copy of my pattern, yeah, I'm going to be a little annoyed because I missed out on that 750, but the hope is that I'm investing in a new like a new customer, maybe they're
yeah.
going to come subscribe to my YouTube channel, or they're going to follow me on Instagram, or they're going to join my email list. Like all of that is valuable. And as business owners, we have to see that kind of engagement as just as valuable in some ways as receiving the actual cash because there's going to be certain customers like I've literally had people who purchased patterns multiple times because they can't find the file, you know? So
Yeah.
that happens too, but I'm not going to give you your $5 back. Like that's between you and your storage system,
Yeah,
okay?
it's
Like
not my fault.
that's not on me. So I mean, I do feel like I have to believe that the scales balance out eventually, you know, for
Yeah.
the people who give the patterns away. But I mean, as long as it's a one-off, like don't be
Yeah. Don't
don't
make a
be the
habit.
guy that's like handing it out in the Discord server or setting up a whole website and stealing a bunch of patterns. Like that
Agreed.
is just
You're a
you're just
dick.
trash. Yeah, really. All
You're a
around.
dick. Next one is, should chargers charge more or less for their patterns?
Should designers charge more or less for their patterns? Man, I feel like this is another one of those things where it's like you just kind of have to be okay with the fact that you're never really gonna earn exactly what you deserve, you
Yeah.
know?
I think
Like
that's what I
I
struggle with
yeah.
free patterns, and because I know that I only have a few of them, and I
Hmm.
think it's just I wonder if it's also because my audience, I feel like I show them so much of behind the scenes where I'm like, I
Oh,
fought this
absolutely.
8 times. Like I'm just making a one for Todd, a
Yeah.
set for Todd, and I'm like, I literally ripped this out. I ripped out the panels first, and then I ripped out the collar again, and then I realized that I did the bind off too well. And even though I did a perfectly perpendicular invisible seaming technique, and it is
Yeah.
the best one that I've done, I still took it out
Still
because I
took it
did it
out.
wrong. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it's like when it comes to the overall industry, I just wish people understood how much work is involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can make a million behind the scenes videos. I could like vlog every blocking session and every frogging set, every one of them. Like I think the people
Yeah.
who want to know, they get how time consuming it is.
Yes.
So of course they're going to pay for the patterns and maybe try and support us in other ways too. Like I set up a lot of avenues for people to support Teal Yarn Crafts if you really want to, because I know that pattern sales, you know, for a while, pattern sales were like a really big part of my business, probably like a good 30-40%. And, you
Yeah.
know, everything else was kind of dotted in there. At this point, honestly, pattern sales is probably coming in at maybe like 20-25%. Yeah, it's
Wild.
taken a massive dip. Like, probably about 2022 and on, I started seeing pattern sales start to dip. And I was like, well, I know
Wild.
it's not the quality. And especially once I started releasing things that are related to like my different yarns and stuff, it's like, I
Yeah.
know that you guys are interested in these and you're going to come buy these patterns and you're going to make all these things. But for whatever reason, we're getting less people buying patterns. And I was like, okay, no problem. I'm going to
Yeah.
give you lots of other avenues to support. So you can, you know, watch videos on my YouTube. I set up a membership which has been, you know, really great for my bottom line. So like I had to diversify a bit because, you know, going back to the original question, you know, I could raise my pattern prices, but like would that really be the solution? I don't think so. Because
Yeah.
like people are just buying less patterns as it is. So you know, should we charge more? Sure, we should. I think we're worth more. I think, you know, with inflation and all of that good stuff, all the things we now have to be worried about as business owners, sure, I think we should charge more. Will we actually get more? I don't know about that one.
I think it's because I keep on looking at sewing, where I'm like
Hmm.
looking at on average spending like 15 to let's say $20. Like higher end, you're spending $25 on a pattern.
Hmm.
And I just keep on thinking to myself where I'm like, how is it that these two crafts are
Yeah.
comparable,
Hmm.
but still in price wise, it's still not comparable. Like I went through
Yeah.
Ravelry and I was like, what is the average cost of a pattern? And
Hmm.
like if I'm going by US dollars, because I Canadian, where I'm
Yeah.
like, if I go by US dollars, it's on average like 3 to 7.
It's really low. But I
It's
mean,
really low.
I think too, there are ways that you can kind of augment your pattern to make them worth more, right? But that just
Yes.
means more work, you know? So tech editing, pattern testing, you know, adding additional notes, putting tutorial videos in there, putting like full photo tutorials in there. Like there are ways to beef it up and make that pattern worth more. So I have a couple of patterns that I charge $10 for, just a few of them. But those are more like workshop level as
Yeah.
opposed to just like, you know, page by page patterns.
It's like you
So
went
I
into the
mean,
next question,
yeah, yeah,
which
what is it?
is there such thing as too simple of a paid pattern?
Girl, if I see one more, here's how to make a granny square PDF. If you're not giving that damn thing away just so I can get on your email list, I'm so
That is how
oh
I feel about garter stitch dishcloths. I'm
oh
like,
my gosh.
cast on, knit, cast off.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you actually giving us? And it's for those kinds of things, because I get some people are like, oh, I can't really learn from videos, or oh, there's too many ads on your blog. Do you have this as a PDF? And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll put it in a PDF and I'm going to charge you $1 for it. Right. Like I've
Yeah,
got a couple things like that too. I think you can really kind of adjust our pay structures based on the value of what we're giving people.
agreed.
So, I'm going to ask you for $1 for it because it took time for me to create this PDF and put it up on
Yeah.
my website and take pictures of it and blah, blah, blah. So there is some value to it. But don't put that damn thing on Ravelry and be like, it's $5 for this granny square with a little loop on the end so you can call it a washcloth. I'm like, no, sweetie. No, 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 no. I don't know what it is with like I remember when I came into this maker industry, I spent a whole lot of time trying to like learn the culture of
Yeah.
pattern writing and engaging with testers and marketing and all of that because I'm like, I don't want to come up in here assuming I know what's going on and just doing whatever the heck I want to because I need these people as customers. I don't want to come in here
Yeah.
and piss people off. And I feel like the mentality has changed. People just come in and they're like, boom, like the damn Kool-Aid man. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I'm gonna charge whatever I want. I'm gonna make whatever I want. And I just, there's no rules. And I'm like, there are though. There is a
Take
technical
a hot
side
second.
to this craft that you
Yeah.
need to learn. Like you have to know that to be able to then translate your pattern or your business to all these other people. Like there are
Yeah.
some standards that are getting a little dicey. It's getting a little shaky out here.
Okay,
I'm
kind of talking
struggling a
about
little.
Ravelry, which I feel like there's like a top-down craze. I feel like there's been a top-down
Yeah.
craze for like probably like for me, I would say the last like 4 or 5 years are like
Yeah,
top-down
at
sweaters,
least
top-down sweaters, top-down sweaters.
everywhere.
So
Yeah.
top-down sweaters or bottom-ups, like are we overthinking this? Are top-down sweaters an overrated trend?
I would say it's a trend for sure. Overrated, I don't think so. Because as somebody who just recently got into making garments and making garments that actually fit my body, I adore a top-down sweater. I am
Me
literally
too.
writing a top-down sweater pattern right now. Like I paused that to come do this and I'm gonna go finish it. So like I love it for, its accessibility. I think it is a
Yeah.
really great place for people to start if they've never made garments before. I love that you can kind of try them on as you go and you don't end up with all these pieces and you're crossing your fingers that it works out. Now, what I would love to see though is a little bit of folding in some other types of designs, working things bottom up, working things in panels, doing set in sleeves and those kinds of things where, we could, I know, like, oh, I love a set in
I
sleeve.
love a sit sleeve.
Oof. But I
Like,
mean, but that takes skill, right? That takes skill to
yeah,
write
that's
and
very true.
to get right and to grade and all that stuff. And again, my sweet little Kool-Aid man friends, everybody who's just popping in, they don't know how to do that stuff. So it is very simple to get into
Yeah.
writing top-down sweaters, but like now you're asking people to elevate their skills. And, in a lot of ways, I wish people would, but in a lot of ways, it's really hard to know how to do that. Where do you
Yeah.
learn how to make a sweater with a set in sleeve? Or how do you learn
How
all
do
the
you learn
different ways
how
that
much
you
you
can
need
make
to
a
be
cuff?
able to actually like tailor it?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
like, what are those like shoulder spans?
Exactly. And how do you adjust that for different sizes? And how do you accommodate that everybody's bodies are a little bit different? How do you make those size inclusive? How do you accommodate for different types of fiber and yarn substitutions? Like these are things that designers should know. And I'm
Yeah,
really glad
agreed.
that people aren't venturing into these things because if you don't know, you're going to have somebody out here wasting a whole lot of money and getting real pissed at you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. I
So,
find
I
it like
mean, yeah.
my thing for top-down sweaters is I love them. I get why they are a thing. I
Hmm.
get the idea where it's like I love that you can try something on as you go because there's nothing more infuriating than like literally going bottom up and being like, is this enough length?
Yeah.
Like to me, doing like a top-down sweater is like, oh, I can just literally knit until I can try it on as I keep on going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And But I think the thing that bothers me about top-down sweaters, and maybe this is also because like whenever I'm going on to top-down sweaters, and maybe this is also because like whenever I'm going on to Ravelry, like it's like there are certain designers, like we have the Jennifer Stein glasses, we have
Mhm.
like the Caitlin Hunters that like, and maybe this is also my dislike of color work. Like
Mm,
I'm like, and I am like
I'm
a
over it.
solid girl. Like I am like
Yeah.
solid, which is surprising because I'm wearing like hand dyed. I know it's a speckle. It's a
It's a
speckle.
special day. It's a
It's a
special
special day.
day.
But I find that it's like, I don't know, how many things can I put into a
Yeah.
top-down yoke?
Like,
I
how many
love to get
different charts can we make for like reindeer and middle fingers and gnomes and everything else? Like,
I did make the middle finger one, but my gauge was off, so my middle finger is like up here. And
ah,
it's like down here. It's like super long. I have not worn it. And also because I didn't understand color theory, and I was like, peach and blue looks good. And I was like, these are not
ooh,
contrasting enough. These look terrible.
ooh.
It's chilling. It is
It's chilling.
it's on the back burner. It has
We
not.
all have a project like that that's like, ooh, I was so confident going into this. And then it's like, ooh, like I'll revisit that at another time. I mean, I am totally right there with you. I'm a crocheter. So, I see these knit sweaters come out, especially around the holidays and fall time, and it's like a one color work yoke after another. And I'm like, aren't y'all bored? Like, don't y'all get sick of these? And I feel like people who like that kind of color work will like make a sweater and then they'll make some socks and then they'll go back to
Yeah.
sweaters and socks just to get their color work fill. And I'm like, love that for you, sweetheart. But like over here on the crochet side, you know, that idea doesn't translate quite as well. Some people have tried to make it work. Some people have done it well.
Yep.
A lot of people have not. So, trend wise, thankfully, that's not something we have to worry about quite so much. But we do have our fair share of top-down sweaters. And a lot of them are just, I'm going to change the yarn weight or I'm going to change the stitch.
Yep.
The rest of it is the same. What I would love to see is like a little bit more shaping. Maybe in the patterns, give some suggestions of like how to make sleeves of different lengths or sleeves of different
Yeah.
shapes. Or like, tell me how to increase the bust without like putting more on my shoulders, for
The
example. Or
hardest
like
part.
some of those, what I would like to see, if we're going to keep these kinds of patterns really simple, is like, tell me how to adjust this to make
Adjust.
sure it actually
Fit.
fits me.
Agreed.
And yeah, I would love to see more of that because I feel like those adjustments are pretty simple. I know at least for myself, I'm pretty busty, I'm pretty curvy. I have a long torso and long
Yeah.
legs. I'm tall. I got a whole bunch of weird proportions going on. So in every single pattern I have ever purchased and made, I have adjusted in some way.
Yeah.
So I can tell people what I did, but as a designer, I would love to
It
be
may
able to
not work
say,
for someone else's body.
right, it may not work for somebody else's body, but maybe I'll give you some recommendations of like, if you have narrower shoulders, do this. If you have a wider bust, do this. If you have, bigger boobs, do this. If you have longer arms, do this. Like, it's those simple things that give people a lot more confidence
Yeah.
because to a degree, I feel like all of us, unless you are just shaped like a piece of cardboard, all of us are going to need to make some adjustments to make sure these clothes fit. And it's just
Unless you are
wild
the
to me.
perfect standardized sample, which is literally
Exactly.
no one.
No one is. There's going to be something about you that is off or different from the original person that this was put on. And I personally am a little sick of the clothes that just hang on you like you're a hanger,
Tag.
like that just poof, it just falls. I'm like, give me a little bit of a waist.
Yeah, give
Make
me some
sure
weight
it hit.
shaping. Give me some butt
Yeah.
starts.
Yes.
It
Give me
might
some
scare
bust
me, but
darts,
I
you
can do
know?
that.
Be
I
like,
like
give
I
me
always debate on putting like there's like certain things like I always find that it's like I know we're going off on a tangent. To me, it's like there are things that are like, okay, this one feels good for a beginner. Like I think of my easy Isla yoke and I'm like,
hmm
okay, that's like a really nice basic. And then if you
Yes.
want to, like my hope is to be able to for my patterns where it's like if you want to include like short rows,
hmm
include them here. If you
Right.
want to include bust starts, include them here.
Yes.
Like if
Yeah.
you want to have waist shaping, include them here. So it's like a
hmm
little bit of a like you can kind of play with it.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
feel like giving people the confidence to adjust the pattern, and if it doesn't work out, rip it out. Like it's like I think that's my challenge sometimes with folks is they're so nervous about making a mistake, and I'm like, girl, that is the point. That is how we
Really,
learn.
a pattern is a blueprint. It is meant to be changed.
Yes. Yes, 100% it is. And like if I design something like I designed this top-down sweater for myself, me and my long arms. If you are working up this sweater and you put all 20, 30, whatever rows on the arms and you're like, "Toni, what's wrong with this sweater?" No, sweetie, there's nothing wrong with the sweater. Just take some rows out. It will be okay, you know?
I have realized that I have gorilla arms, like orangutan arms. Like I have a 22-inch arm and the average
Yeah.
is 19.
Yeah.
And everyone
Yeah.
like everyone's I'm like, I'm gonna make these slightly different for myself, but I will make them
Right.
technically T length for myself for everyone else to have
For
room
everyone
underneath.
else. Yes. Be like, let me
Yeah,
accommodate you, sweetie, because God
adjust.
forbid you take 2 inches of your stitching out of your own project. Like, God forbid you have to do it yourself. One thing that I would really love to see in the larger maker community, and I feel like a trend that gets really frustrating for designers is people not kind of taking any accountability for making their own adjustments. Like immediately going to the designer, immediately going to some group somewhere like, oh, this isn't working. What am I supposed to do? And I'm like, I get if you really don't know, but sometimes it's, this doesn't fit me and I don't understand. I'm like, that is not enough information. And I'm not coming to your house and sitting on your couch and telling you how to fix this. But if you genuinely have a question or a problem, I am happy to help.
For
But
me, it's
like,
always like, can I change and can I know this was knit in a size 4? Can I knit it in a fingering weight? And I'm like, no,
no,
you'd have to
no.
redo all the math.
Yeah.
So
Like if you're down for changing a whole lot of things and completely going off script, because listen,
and
I'll
I
do
will
that in
not
a
do it.
heartbeat.
You can modify. You can
Right,
choose
you
for
can
me.
modify it. I'm not gonna tell you how. So like I was on my live stream the other night and a lady was like, I found this fingering weight sweater and I want to do it in a DK weight. What do I have to change? So immediately in my head, I'm like, okay, you'll probably want to go down a couple sizes in the pattern and you'll want to, at these points, these points, these points, do a fit check and make sure it actually fits.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot promise that this will work. I don't know what hook size you should use or what yarn that you're using, but first instinct that's what I would do for
Yeah.
myself. Now, if that lady goes back and makes that pattern, she's like, "Oh, I did exactly what you said." I'm like, "Girl,
I'm not there. I can't like you gotta like modify. You gotta like change with it.
yeah,
Agree.
seriously." I'm like, "You're changing a major part of this pattern. One of the
Yeah.
most important parts that make sure it fits properly. You're changing the weight
The
of the yarn.
gauge.
And the gauge is now completely off, which throws off the entire pattern. Every single dimension is different now. You can't expect somebody to give you a succinct and quick answer on how to change a pattern now that you've changed everything.
Everything.
You changed
I'm
everything.
like, you could try. I'm like, but I
Yeah,
cannot guarantee
I
anything.
cannot guarantee. There's no possible way we can guarantee.
No. Okay, next question. Knitting machines.
Yeah.
Cheating or not? And I will give a qualifier for this. Hand knit or handmade.
So I've always been team knitting machine. I think they're fascinating.
You're
I
so
love them.
opposites
Like
in all of these
I
questions.
know we are. I know we are. And so so my mom is a machine knitter and she has like multiple knitting machines. I've seen tons of stuff that she's had come off of her knitting machine.
Okay, maybe
And
I'm
she's
not talking about the knitting machines like this. I'm talking a
the
loom.
ones in the those ones too. I love them. I mean, why not make our lives easier? Like why wouldn't we? And so yes, I would consider that handmade, not
Yes,
hand knit per se,
agreed.
because like to me, hand knit is you're manipulating the needles. Like it's
You
a
put a
whole
drill on that,
separate.
and then I still don't know if it's handmade.
Exactly. I kind of look at it like Tunisian crochet versus traditional crochet. They're both
Yeah.
very valid crafts, but they are different. They are not the
Yes.
same, right? So I look at machine knitting and hand knitting, both valid, not the same,
Not
right? So when I look at machine knitting, I'm like, I think that is very cool. You do have to have some skill to do it properly and make it look good, which I think is part of it.
Yeah, I
Um,
think this setup
but
is like definitely something that you have to consider where it's
for
like
sure.
you need to be able to put it like
Yeah,
I've done it.
you have to know gauge and tension. You have to know what yarns work and like how the fabric is going to come out, just like
Yeah.
any other, handmade piece. But no, it's not hand knitting. Like you can't say I knit this. No, you can say I made this.
Yeah, I
Just
think
like,
the thing,
when
the
you
part that like I always struggle, I think especially as like being a knitter and like working at markets, was it
yeah.
was like here I am hand knitting these like worsted weight beanies, and then like
Yeah.
4 booths down, it would be someone who was using a loom, like a hand cranked loom.
So here's
That's
my
the
two
part
cents
that's
on this.
like,
I have
That's the
two
part that
cents in
says
it.
cheat to me.
You're like, no
Cheat.
fair.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you're
over
like,
here being like, yeah, I fucking
how
cheated.
dare you
Like,
try and charge $60 for that hat that took you 20 minutes?
yes.
Yeah, no, I get that part. That would be incredibly frustrating. But But in my brain, I would be looking at it like, sure, I can hand knit, but if the whole point is just making money at this market, I'm gonna throw that shit on a knitting machine. Why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you save yourself some time and some energy and still
Capitalist
charge
in all of
$60
us.
for that? Listen, I did markets for like a good 4 years straight,
Yeah.
and by the end of it, I had such an efficient process. And if I could have found a machine to do what I did, I would have did it in a heartbeat. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, I want you to take these hats, and I'm gonna take your money. We're both gonna leave, and everybody's happy. But like, as far as like designing and things, I couldn't imagine like trying to sell a pattern and calling it hand knit when I actually made it on the machine. Like I'm not going to expect somebody to be able to replicate exactly what I did with their
Yeah.
hands if I'm working off a machine.
Yeah. My market days, like, I feel like I can still, like, if someone said one sentence to me, I would be immediately go into like my blurb. It's just like that
You're
is
like, well,
like
actually,
programmed in my head. Like, feel free to try it on. It looks really cute. Definitely
yeah,
try it. It is because you know, as soon as someone puts it on, then
yes,
other people look and they're like, oh, that does look
absolutely.
really cute. And I'm like, the only thing is just like, don't go like this to my hats.
Oh my gosh, why do people do that? I thought it
I
was just me. Okay, I'm gonna tell you
know.
the super quickest story, and I've never forgotten this in like the decades since I did this market. Oh my gosh. So I'm selling at markets, and for a while I was mainly doing kids stuff. So I had this like 5 to 7 year old hat,
Will it
right?
fit me?
That's what she said when she walks up. This is a grown woman. Now listen, I have a big head. I know that. That woman's head was bigger than mine. Okay. And so she looks at this hat and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I think I can fit this." Immediately picks it up and starts going like this. Going like this over and over. And I'm just standing there like having this little internal heart attack, like, ma'am, cut it out.
Every time
And
it's
then
like a
she put
clip.
the hat on and she's like, "Oh, it does fit." Took it off, threw it back on the counter, and walked away. I was like, what the hell was the point of that? You agent of chaos. Why would you do this? What impulse made you come over here, destroy my hat, and walk away? Now, these days, I would have been like, excuse me, ma'am. You just ruined that hat, and I need you to buy that. Like, that is your hat now, and I need $15. Hand it to me right now. That was so not okay. And I was like, she must have knew I was new. She must have knew.
She
Some
was
must
like, no,
have told her.
no. The thing is that I probably don't even think that she knew that you were new. It was that it's just so oblivious.
Oh my
Like they
gosh.
don't realize. They don't realize. Next question. Has our
Yeah.
craft moved from slow to fast fashion with the output of how many pattern releases?
1,000% yes. 1,000%. Like I don't think anybody could argue that we're moving at a decent pace. It is like
No.
breakneck out here. And what's unfortunate is like not only do you have to like crank out more patterns to like stay relevant, but like the level of marketing around the patterns has to be like full on professional level. You know,
Yeah.
regardless of all the things that you had to do to even get this pattern ready to release, you now have to spend the next like 2 to 4, maybe even 6 weeks, like telling everybody everywhere a million different times about this pattern because I feel like, there's so much noise now. There's like
Mhm.
so many designers and there's so many patterns. The trends come and go so fast.
Quickly.
There's tons of yarn, so you're constantly competing with the yarn companies as well for people's attention, just to be able to say like, "Hey, I made this pattern. I think you might be interested." And then you've got this company over here. It's like, "We put our whole business on sale. Come over here." And I'm like, ugh, just give us just a slice of space to
I
talk
literally,
about
I
ourselves.
literally went from like I started like seeing how many patterns I was coming out with. And I think especially because of like COVID, so many of us were like, oh my God, there's so many brand new knitters, like get on it. And I was
Yeah.
releasing something stupid like 12 to 20 patterns a year. And then I
Yes.
made the like decision. I was like, nope, that's not happening. I'm gonna only do
Mm-hmm.
7
Mm-hmm.
a year because I was like, I feel like I am not marketing these things. It's like you
Yeah.
literally do one, and then immediately you're like,
Turn right
well,
back
on to the
around.
next one. And it's like,
Yes.
no, that was such a good pattern.
It
Like,
was so good.
please see it. And then
Right?
I got put on Craft Snark, and someone was like, oh, well, that's because she just pumps out patterns left, right, and center. They're not that good. And I
Oh
know word of
my
a
God.
lie because things irritate me. And when you do things, I go into deep dive mode research. Did you know that like Petite Knit came out with 30 patterns last year?
I believe it.
30.
Yeah.
Andrea Mowry did like 25 to 27.
Hmm.
And I'm like, and
Hmm.
you're coming at me saying that
Yeah.
I am pumping out design.
I know. I know. It is absolutely ridiculous because I think this is a problem on levels, right? So you've got like some of the really popular designers who are cranking out patterns like crazy, and I do feel like in a lot of ways they end up setting the bar because, not only are their patterns well done, but they're incredibly popular
Mhm.
and, they become the trend. They're like, "Oh, we're making this
Yeah.
piece now and we're going to make this piece next." Like they fill up people's queues, so then you've got somebody who's just, your everyday maker and it's like, hey, I just came out with another pattern. They're like, didn't you come out with something 6 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't have time to make all this stuff. And I'm like, hold on now, because you don't have that same energy for everybody. Like
Yeah.
which is not really fair. And I am right there with you. Like over the pandemic or like 2021, especially, I put out so many patterns and so much content, like a ton. Um, but yeah, it starts to feel a little too commercial in a way
It feels
because there's
too
so many
capitalistic.
patterns.
I'm like, how
Yeah.
did we come from like a craft that is like such slow fashion? And I think it also
Hmm.
like has ramped up into the idea of like, well, you have to be a faster knitter. Learn how to knit
Yeah.
continental because then it's faster. And it's like you're
That's
watching
not
people,
the
and I
point.
think it's also like the cyclical of like social media and just like the
Absolutely.
algorithms where it's like you need to be finishing a product that is new for them to be able to see it.
Definitely.
And like my best reels are usually the ones that, well, if it's a sweater scarf, ding, but it's like if it is
They sell
a
themselves.
if it is a transition where it's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I knit it, took a video, knit the next like bit, took a video, and those are the like
They
immediate,
kill.
those do really, really well. But it's like
Absolutely.
it's the
But I
reminder
can't
of
do that every week, or I can't do that multiple times a week because I'm the same way. Like those video transitions of like, here's what it was in a skein, and here's one ball in, two ball in, three ball in. And then by the end, I have a finished piece. And I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed making that too, but I'm not planning to make another sweater for at least a month. So what do I post in between?
yeah. And then I think it's also the idea where it's just like I feel like the making of content, which
Mhm.
is actually a good the dark side of Instagram knitting, is it killing creativity or helping? I think that it's like it's detrimental because all of a sudden here I am being like, okay, well, I'm like ready to pick up the sleeve, but I'm like, but I didn't take a video in natural
Right.
light showing what it looked like. So even though it's like 8 p.m. and knitting and it is a perfect
Yeah.
time for me to sit down and like watch a TV show and knit, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I guess I need to like have another project because like I need to take the content of that one first before I can like go over to that one. And then it's also like I have this like beautiful I just finished the Wisteria tank from Joan Ho. She has this
Mm.
beautiful book somewhere in the abyss around here. It might be around me. Oh my God, Chantal. It's like I was like, she just finished her book, and it is the
Beautiful.
prettiest tank. And I haven't worn it simply because I have not finished a blocking video where I go, blocked,
Yeah.
where and I haven't worn it because I'm like,
And
what
that's
I
the
don't
thing.
need to
It's
get
like
anything
people
on it.
people look at social media and they're like, oh, well, just make it. Just, oh my gosh, that is gorgeous.
It's
Absolutely beautiful. And
her
I feel
her
like folks
designs
look at
are
socials and they're like, oh, well, it's just quick and you can just do it super quick. And I'm like, but no, though. Like I think about how long it takes me to make a reel or even to make a long form video. And I'm like, for the 30 seconds you see, that is like multiple days of my
oh my
life.
God.
That is me
It's
having to
so many.
step away from answering emails and writing patterns and engaging in my membership and all the other things. Like I think people underestimate what it takes not only to be a designer and a pattern writer, but also just to run an entire business. You exist in so many different places. You have responsibility to so many different things. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's at the point now where if the sun is up, I'm probably at my computer.
Oh,
I'm
dude,
like,
I don't knit at all during the day.
no.
Like
If I
maybe at
pick up
night.
my hooks before like 5 p.m., it's a miracle. Or I'm like purposefully not doing something else to
Yeah.
be able to now do this. Because
Yeah.
like if I pick up my hooks, like even when the sun is still out, like, oh my gosh, it's just a really, really good day. Because that just does not happen.
Or a bad day and you're just like, I just can't do this right now and I just need to knit.
And then there's no damn way I'm pulling a camera out on a day like that because like that bad energy is gonna just cement right into the video. You're gonna see it all over me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, nope, it's not a good day to pick up the camera. And I have to think about this as well. I've met a lot of knitters and crocheters, and on the whole, not all of us, certainly not you, and correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people are just not trying to put themselves out there like that. They're not trying to be social media geniuses, and they're not trying to sell themselves all the time. And their making is just this very private and quiet thing. So it's
Yeah.
sometimes difficult to even get a foothold in the social media space to be able to show up and again get heard beyond all of the noise because now on top of all the things that we have to do to run our business and be designers and create content and everything, now you want me to like document everything? Do you know what that
And
means?
it's
Do you know
so
what you're
hard. And it's
asking
also
me?
so invasive.
Oh
Like
gosh,
it's
yes.
so invasive. Like I feel like I do share quite a bit of my life, but
Mhm.
also everyone's like, "Oh man, what does Todd ever think of like what you do?" And I'm like, Todd literally does not go on social media. Todd has never seen the things that you guys are seeing. He's
Yeah,
seen me in the corner being like, "Is that a
right.
tasty treat? Is that a tasty treat? Is that a tasty treat?" Like that. I'm like, that's literally what he's like. I think I know that off by heart by this point.
Right.
It's just like he's like,
Yeah,
stop
it's
playing
different.
this stupid audio over and
Seriously.
over and over again. Like it's just
Yeah. My husband's the same. It's like in a lot of like he supports me and I love that, but he could really care less. It's not his thing and it's not meant to be. And it's like, when it's finally time for me to step away from my computer and my work day is done, like I consider creating content work. So
yeah.
like I'm not about to spend my evening catching clips of things. If I grab something top down, like on my lap that I'm working on, fine. But like, I'm not about to set up a whole storyboard for a reel to record that after I'm done with my work. No, I'm about to take my dog for a walk and I'm about to lay up under my husband, and that's it. I'm not giving y'all nothing else
Good
today.
for you. I find it so hard, like the
Oh,
like
I
where
gotta
I'm like,
turn
oh,
it
but I
off.
haven't put up a story. Oh, I should be doing XYZ. And
No.
I also find that there's like times where I'm like, Chantel, you haven't shown knitting on your stories in like a week. Maybe you should just pick up your knit and then do it. Like there's like I also find that like running a business where it's just like sometimes I used to when I first started KNITATUDE, it was like I knit for an hour every single day in the morning. And
Sure.
now I'm like, I knit at midnight
Yeah,
Thursday.
that's
Like,
it. That's it.
and then I
Yeah.
got into the like try to, but the rest of it is literally computer work. Okay, now
Yeah.
we're getting to the one that I am nervous about. And I can answer first if you want to, because I feel like I keep on giving you where I'm like, you have to answer first. Um, test knitters, paid or unpaid?
What's your hot take?
My hot take is that I think we need to reword what a test knitter is. The thing that bothers me the most when
Hmm.
this topic comes up is that,
Hmm.
but they're getting a free pattern. And to me, I think that it has become a detriment of designers saying that and testers saying that. Because to
Hmm.
me, it's not a free pattern.
Right.
Like, it's an energy exchange to me. And
Absolutely.
like, you can give notes, and I will say that I think the expectations of test knitters has gradually
It's
become,
gotten really nasty.
it's also gotten like really out of like the norm where it used to be just like, okay, give notes,
Right.
give
Take some
feedback,
pictures.
done. But I
Yeah.
also think that it's like because of how people are now buying patterns and they want to be able to see things on other people's bodies,
Yeah.
it is now
Yeah.
like, can you send me a photo? Are you okay to be able to do like marketing for it? And I do
Hmm.
think that there is a really nice trend of I think they're calling it oh, what is it? It's not a test knit. It's like a promotional, like it's like a specific term that it's like we're now realizing that it's not a test knit anymore. It's
Mm.
like a promo kind of thing.
Okay.
kind of really like the aspect of that because it becomes a lot more like, yes, I'm still asking you to be able to test this because like to
Right.
me, every single time that I design something, I'm designing something new that I'm
Right.
like, okay, if this is here and I
Mm-hmm.
have done this many bind offs and this many here,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to hit on my bra straps because I can try it on to make sure
Right.
it covers. But because I'm like making mathematical decisions and choices and guesstimations, I want to see it on a person's body. So that's
Right.
why I find like testers so helpful. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it like, yes, I would love to have testers be paid.
Yeah.
But then I think that we need to have a real honest conversation of what needs to happen to the industry to be able to do that. That
Yeah.
means
There's
pattern
not enough
prices.
money to go around.
Yeah,
There's
pattern prices are going up. Like when I always
absolutely.
think of like Ravelry hasn't come out with it, but in 2019 they came out with like this is how much money every single designer made on the site.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
like 98 or 99% of them made less than $500 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
1% of them made over $3,000. And
Mm-hmm.
granted, we don't know if like Ravelry is their only one.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
their selling
But I mean, that's
platform.
still a lot of money. Whether
That's
it's your only platform, but yeah,
$36,000.
it's a lot. That's a lot. So I mean, so here's my take on it. Personally, as the program exists right now, I do not believe that pattern testers should be paid. I think it would be nice, but practically speaking, there is no way to make that happen unless you were like fully sponsored by some company somewhere, and this pattern is like going in a book or like I don't know, going to Prada or some crazy, I don't know. Like unless this was like a whole marketing program, like your everyday, I released this in the middle of May type pattern, there's no way I can pay testers for that. Because think about how many testers you need, right? You're going to need anywhere from like 4 to maybe 8 people at minimum just to hit all of your sizes. A lot of your pattern tests, you're going to ask for way more people than that because you know people are going to drop off. You're
Mhm.
going to have some folks whose proportions are different within different sizes. So, like, to really get a good sample size, you're going to have a lot of people.
Yeah.
And to pay
I
people
technically look for
what it costs.
27.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about how much time that takes, how much yarn they're buying, how much, energy they're putting into like writing notes. Even them, there's no way you'd be able to pay them what it's actually worth. You never would get there.
No, and I also think that it's like, I think it would be a little bit different if it's along the lines of like, I get that item. Like
Right,
once you
right.
finish, it's mine. But it's like
Yeah.
if you want to knit with a specific yarn, I'm not
Mhm.
saying like if you want to knit with cashmere for your test knit, I'm not going to say no to that. If you
Yeah.
want something that
Oh,
is more
yeah.
budget friendly, like
Hmm.
I am not going to say
Like,
no.
go for it. And if
And
anything, that's great for us as designers because now we can see what the piece looks like in different
on a
yarns and all that
range.
different stuff. But so I used to do a lot of pattern testing. I had to scale back because of time. But when I did it, I had a list of must-haves and then I had a list of nice-to-haves.
Yeah.
So the must-have was please finish on time. Please don't share the pattern. Please take a couple photos and just send them to me. You don't even have to post on the internet. You
Yeah.
don't have to post anywhere. And I did require people to be on Instagram because we used to do the pattern test through DMs. But I'm starting to transition to maybe doing that on Discord because not everybody is on social media, right? So I'm trying to be a little bit more accommodating. But it's like there's a list of things that you have to do, and in exchange, you get this pattern plus one additional pattern of your choice. And if you want, I will share it on my socials because I'm gonna do like a little roundup post for all of my testers. But then the nice to haves would be, share whip photos, post on release day, put your project on Ravelry, those kinds of things. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
gently nudge you in that direction. And if you want to do those things, great. But like I've seen where people are like, well, you didn't finish on time, so now you have to buy the pattern. No,
I do that.
no.
But I use it as a deterrent. I think a lot of people like, and honestly, out of all of my tests that I've had in how many years, I think I have
Hmm.
charged 4 people. And I've had way more than 4 people bail. Because to me,
Yeah,
like, I always put it as being like, by the end of it, if you don't end up doing it, you would still pay for the pattern. Because to
yeah,
me, their notes are a form of paying for the pattern because you're going to get the
sure.
finished pattern no matter what.
Yeah,
And I would like, I think I'd put it as a deterrent because my thing is like, if you totally ghost me, like you leave me high and dry, where
yeah.
it's like,
I mean,
if
my thing is
it's
like
like
I'm just
two
gonna
days
I'm just gonna
before,
close the door. I've always looked at it like, well, if you remove yourself from the experience, we're just not gonna have this experience together ever again. Like we're just never gonna do
Very-
this together ever. Like you only have to bite me once, you know? So
Yeah.
I keep a list of my testers and I have what I call the insiders. So it's like an email list that I
Yes.
add people to and I'm like, you are the only people who know when I'm doing a pattern test. I used to do public calls for testers and I don't do that anymore because I had a
Yeah.
lot of people who would just like not show up or take the pattern. I'd literally never hear from them again. And I was like, okay, well, I'm now going to put you in this special group. You're going to know what's going on. If you choose to participate, great. And if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll
That's
see you
fine.
on the next one. And it made it really easy for me to just take people off the list, you know, and be able to
Yeah.
create a list of like, these are people we don't work with anymore. But like, I don't know. I'm not very much of a confrontational person. I don't want to chase down the person who ghosted me and be like, "You
Yeah,
owe me
that's fair.
750." Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm not. I'm just gonna you ghost me, I ghost you right back, baby. Like it goes it goes both ways.
Literally have no more expectations for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like I've done it to maybe four people, but the
Yeah.
like if it's ever like it's the ones that like it's 2 days
Yeah.
before the release or like before the pattern is due and you're
Mhm.
knitting like a size small and you
You
are it's a
should have
top
been
down
done.
yoke and you're like I'm like okay well like can you give me like partial notes of like how far you've gotten. It's like well I got the yoke done and I'm like okay that is not my fault, that is your bad time
Yeah,
management.
that's on you. Yeah.
I'm like at that point, but honestly, for the majority, like it's like, oh, PS, like this came up, and I'm like, I'm so
Right.
sorry. Like
Yeah.
life happens. You should
It
never have
does. Yeah.
the like my pattern test is never going to take precedent over someone else's life. And I
Right.
think that whenever I
Absolutely.
see these like these threads of people just getting so angry, I think people have this idea that designers are like very like black and white. And I'm like, no, there's a gray literally in everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's this impression that like just because we're running a business and that like part of our motivation is, you know, supporting ourselves, that it's like us versus them. No, sweetie, I am
We're
a
working
you. Like we're
together.
all in this. We're all just makers. And I happen to have
Yeah.
turned it into a business, but like at the end of the day, I'm still making patterns from other designers and I'm buying the same yarns as you are.
Yeah.
So like I still kind of have that perspective of like, you know, as an everyday person, what would make this an enjoyable experience for me?
Yeah.
And when it comes to pattern testing, I try to make it as low lift as possible. I try to say yes to everything when it comes to my testers and like really make it easy for them because ideally, I love having repeat testers because they
Mhm.
start to learn me and they start to understand like how I write and can like give me really good quality notes. But then I also want, you know, people who feel good about saying like, hey, you should come test for Toni. Like I had a really good time here. Like I want those testimonials as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a tough I think everybody's gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah.
I am on the side of, you know, if you can't participate or if you like totally ghost the experience, maybe you're not meant to test, at least for me, and that
Yeah.
is your way of telling me, you know, and I'll just be like, it was nice hanging with you, you know, we'll call it good. But what kills
I
me
take
though is
things way too personally.
there is a level of entitlement, unfortunately, for like some of the folks that I've seen, and they'll like double down and be like, "Well, I told you the rules first day," and I'm like, "Honey, these people don't work for you." And when it
No,
comes down to it, it's kind of a volunteer
it is a
experience.
volunteer position.
Yeah, so I'm like, you can't treat volunteers like employees. They're not the same.
No, I have to
No,
agree.
yeah.
Agreed. What a good way to knock that one off. With the rising crochet talk, do you think that there's still a stigma towards crochet?
I mean, I think there
She
is still a
clears her
stigma.
throat.
I think there is still a stigma. I think we care less though. I think we care
Yeah.
less than we used to. Like I don't have as big of a chip on my shoulder, you know, when people have things to say about knit and crochet. Like I used to be the person who was like, somebody be like, "What are you knitting?" We're like, "It's crochet." Me. Like that used to be me. And after a while of saying it, I was like, that sounds really annoying. Like nobody cares. Like it just doesn't matter that much. Like, you know, you can gently correct someone and just be
Yeah.
like, "Well, I'm crocheting a sweater," you know? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like this antagonistic thing. And I think too, you know, crocheters at least are starting to appreciate how broad this craft can be from like, you
Agree.
know, like fashion, like runway level stuff to like everyday pieces to your amigurumis to like, you can hit the trends really quick because it's so fast. So I think we just care a little bit less. We care a little bit less about the stigma, but I do believe that it still exists. I still walk
Agreed.
into local yarn stores and people are like, well, what are you planning to knit? And I'm like, well, I'm actually a crocheter and I can feel the energy change. Like it still happens. It is so annoying. And like that is still a conundrum of mine because I'm like, how are y'all still not getting that crocheters, one, do want to spend money,
They spend more
and
money on
two,
yarn.
we use more yarn and we're fine with it. So like why wouldn't you sell me an extra two or three skeins for my project just because like you don't love the craft? What does it matter? What do you
Yeah. I also
care?
find that like certain like also just yarn stores in general. Like there I feel like there's always like certain yarn stores in your area that you're like, no, I won't go to that one.
No. Yes,
And then like
absolutely.
other ones
Yeah.
that I will. Like
Hmm.
I remember the first time when I first started knitting and going to it doesn't exist anymore. But it was here, it was on Kensington Road. I'm not gonna say the
Hmm.
name, but like they're gone. It doesn't matter. But I remember going in and like knitting with like really, really like size 6, super bulky yarn. And I was like,
Hmm.
that's what I know how to do. And they were like,
Yeah.
I was
What
like,
is
what?
that about?
We're all knitters.
We are all
Sorry, we're
knitters, and I
all
think
makers. Sorry, so I'm like, we're all
well,
knitters.
I mean, but I think about this in the context of like other stores, other industries, right? Like if I was to walk into a stationery store and somebody's like, "Well, what do you need?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I need, I don't know, glitter pens." And somebody's to look at me like, "We only sell gel pens here." Like, what the hell? It just sounds ridiculous in any other context to the
Yeah,
point where I'm like, "Okay, you're a yarn store. Sell me some yarn."
yarn.
Just sell me some yarn. That's all I need you to do. And like just be welcoming and encouraging. And I would love for you to go the extra mile and maybe have more crochet samples and more crochet tools and more crochet
Yeah.
books. But even if you're not doing that, the least you can do is not make me feel like crap just for walking into your store.
Yes, agreed.
So the stigma is certainly still there. And I think about that in other areas of our industry. All of like not all, but a lot of our crochet magazines are gone. They just weren't making the same money as knitting per se, but I also feel like they weren't marketed the same. They weren't getting the
No,
same kinds of designs in them. Like they weren't getting the same advertisers. It's like this cyclical thing where like crochet really has a
it all trickles
hard time
down.
getting a leg up. So as an independent designer, I'm like, you know what? I can't depend on, the larger voices in this industry to really stick up for crochet. I have to do that for myself. And I have to encourage, the other people who are as enthusiastic as me. We have to do it for ourselves.
Yeah, which I feel like you're a really big advocate for crochet in general.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
whenever
Because
I
I
have like friends
refuse
being
to
like,
like,
I'm
yeah,
gonna learn how to crochet. And I'm like, I watched this video and I was like, it's Tony. Did you see Tony?
Yeah, because I think crochet has a lot of advantages, especially to like people who are trying to learn. And, ultimately, I think we all would be better off knowing all the crafts, like knowing how to knit and crochet, Tunisian crochet, machine knit, all of that. Because I mean, why wouldn't you have the skills, to be able to do all the things, or at least just appreciate all the things?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 4 more.
Okay.
Do we need to retire the phrase selfish knitting?
Yes, it's really annoying. Just knit whatever the hell you want. I don't care if it's for you or for anybody else. I don't care. I don't care.
There's parts of me that I'm like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me.
I don't know. It bugs me because like the suggestion is like, you know, it's such a you take on this burden, right? Of like knitting for everybody else all the time. And now you finally get to make
Did
something for
something for
yourself.
yourself.
And I'm like, sweetheart, this is a hobby, by the way. You make for whomever you want to. And if somebody is putting pressure on you to make someone, you need to check them if you don't want to make the thing, you
Like,
know?
no.
Yeah. Be like,
I
no,
also maybe it's because I don't make anything for anyone else. Like
it's
I
all
like
selfish knitting.
it's all selfish to me. That's why I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't really mind because it's like what I do on the daily.
I
I
don't
just
know. It kind
like
of annoys the hell
I
out of me,
finally
I'll
put
be
myself to
honest.
being like, Chantal, you have to design one men's pattern a year so that Todd gets something.
Something.
And I do have like a few
One
members
thing.
in my family that are like knit worthy, but then there are a
Yeah,
few that are not.
certainly not. No.
And I'm like, I feel bad if I give it to one person, then the other person gets like kind of angry. So that's why I just don't give anyone anything.
Same, same. I do not give Yarny gifts anymore. Like part of the reason I got into selling things at craft shows is I was making things for friends and family and they didn't want them anymore. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna let you tell me that you want something. I'm not gonna make you something and spend the time
Yeah.
on it and then be mad when you open it and you're like, oh, thanks, girl. I'd be like, "Urgh." So no, I don't make gifts really either. I make a few things for my nieces and nephews because they're too little to tell me they don't like it. Um, and then otherwise, yeah, I've started making more things for myself. I make a lot for my business, but
Yeah.
it's getting to the point now too where the things I make for myself, especially the stuff that I freehand, ends up being for my damn business anyway. So, I
I
don't
know, I'm
really
in the
get,
same boat. Whenever
yeah,
I'm like, if anyone's like, do you ever knit from like another person, like another person's designs? And I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, probably like once a year. And it's
yeah, like every
also
now and
for like
then.
a business standpoint where I'm like,
Hmm.
I've never knit a raglan. I'm gonna learn how to knit a raglan. Or like,
Right.
I've never
Yeah.
done a top-down yoke. I'm gonna learn how to knit a top-down yoke. Or like,
Yeah.
I've never done this specific shawl. I'm gonna learn this specific shawl. Like,
Right. It's research at
yeah.
that point. Yeah. You're just
And
like
that's when you're
learning
always in
some
your
new
taxes. You're
skills.
like, is this a write-off? Is this a write-off? Is it a write-off? Is it not a write-off? And I'm
All
like,
of it. It's all a write-off.
okay. Snark Reddits, good or bad for the community?
For the community, maybe not great. For me, I love them. And I'll tell you why. I I love a spot of drama. I do believe that there need to be places for people to like blow off some steam. Um, Otherwise things get like weirdly confrontational in places that they shouldn't. So I like that this exists for the community because there will always be those people who find something wrong with everything. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you guys can all congregate over there. Just go over there and be mad and angry and with your little dark clouds over there. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna check in every now and then because I need to keep my ear to the streets. I feel like that's my job.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check it out. But I will say this about like craft snarks and snark channels like that. I feel like they used to be a little bit more productive. Like these used to be spaces where we would like hold people accountable. We'd be
Agreed.
like, "Hey, I ordered this advent and I haven't gotten mine. Has anybody else seen theirs and what's going on here?" Or, "Hey, I just bought this pattern and I reached out to the designer and she was like really mean to me. Has anybody else
Mhm.
had this experience?" So it used to be about like genuine things. Whereas I
Agreed.
feel like now people are just like, oh, she was mean to me and I'm sad. She hurt my feelings. Or like such and such is stealing patterns again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, it's the same stuff over and over
Or it's
again.
just that they like hate specific people. Like if
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Andrea Mowry, I'm like, what has that girl done to you? Like,
Nothing. And
like,
and what I appreciate about her and it is she just it's like water off a duck's back. It's like she doesn't even hear it because like in
her.
the universe of Andrea Mowry, that's like the
Like
teeniest,
it's so
tiniest voice in a
small.
corner. It's so small. And like she's forging ahead and in all honesty those conversations like it might get that thread might be long but next week nobody's talking about it anymore. It's just
Yeah.
noise. It's just noise. So I'm here for it. I do want to know like what people are saying in their small groups in their small circles, but how much of an impact does it have on our industry? I would say not much. Not much. It's just entertainment. It's just somewhere to blow off a little bit of steam. I do feel like you have to have a pretty thick skin to be in this business
Yeah.
because any artist who's going to put their work out there opens themselves up to scrutiny and there's always going to
Agreed.
be somebody who has something to say. I've been on Craftsnark my fair share as well. I've
Yeah.
never really felt like it was particularly valid, so I don't freak out about it, but like, you know, I I do feel
You're like,
really
you know that you're I'm an on grass snark. Yeah, keep
I
going, Tony.
several of my friends have been on Craftsnark and I get more mad for you guys than I do even for myself because I feel like for the
Yeah.
most part it's BS. People get mad about things and it's like, are you really mad or are you like frustrated or jealous or like angry that it didn't work out for you or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
You're just looking to have a conversation today. You just need
Yeah.
somebody to talk to. So I don't get too stressed about it, but I mean overall for the community, probably not great, but I would rather they do it there than like in my DMs or in my comment section, or
I would
like
rather
in,
be in my comment section and my DMs.
Girl, you said they do it in your DM? They
I would
don't.
rather have it in my like comment section or
You
my
would?
DMs because I feel like then I can like still have a conversation and like
Yeah.
de-escalate it. And
Mhm.
also like I think people really jump to conclusions and then they
Sure.
just like kind of pile on. And it's
For
like
sure.
you don't have two sides of the story.
Hmm.
Like to me, if like someone sends me a DM, I can like have a conversation being like, okay, I didn't realize that that was how you felt. Like, is there a
Yeah.
way that I can be able to like kind of change that? Like, I feel like there's an actual more honest and open conversation. And to
Sure.
me, in my comment section, like the advantage of it happening in my comment section is that I can literally just mute you and like
True.
where it's just like I have control over it. So I
Right.
think that's
Yeah.
maybe my thing when it
Hmm.
comes to craft snark and like just craft like or snark Reddits in general.
Hmm.
I do agree. I feel like there used to be, I don't know, like more
Just
high
more
quality
worthwhile
snark.
conversation. Yeah, for sure.
Like
Like more thoughtful snark. Like we don't really have that anymore. I feel like at this point it's just a lot of whining. And you're right, there are certain people that they just pile onto. You see the same names over and
over
over
and
and over
over and over
again.
again.
And I'm
And
like,
I just
okay, we
like
get it. Like you don't like this person or you don't buy their stuff anymore. Fine, but like you don't have anything else meaningful to contribute.
I think it's also just because, like, I think you notice certain people come out of the woodwork, and especially when they're commenting multiple times, where it was like,
Yes.
okay, you've had a bad experience,
Right.
clearly, and like now you're just ready to unleash. And it's like, did you
Yeah.
ever give that person the time of
Yeah.
day to be able to have that conversation?
Hmm.
I personally don't think craft snarks are helpful for the community because, like, I don't know, we have enough negative shit and things happening in the world that
True.
I don't need to take something that is like that makes me happy and joyful and just like shit on it. Like, I
Yeah.
get it. There are people that just want to watch the world burn, but do
Mhm.
that on your own time. Don't put it anywhere near me. And like, if
You're
you
like, don't
need,
bring me up.
yeah, yeah, don't bring me up. And it's like,
Yeah.
get my name out of your damn mouth. Like, it's just like, go touch some fucking grass.
Hmm.
Like,
That's what
take
it comes
take
down
a
to.
moment. And it's
I think
like,
people are spending too much time online. And like there are a lot of folks
yes.
that I know that have their entire maker experience online. Like even we just had Knit in Public Day pass. And I was like, hey, what is everybody doing? And one lady was like, I never take my yarn outside. This is my private thing. I only do this like, I'm like, wow, I
Do you need
feel
a
quite
hug?
nervous for you. Look, right. I'm like,
Do
are
you just
you
need a hug?
okay? Yeah. And I'm like, I get it. Maybe this is your private thing, but I hope you have some other outlets in your life to spend time
Yeah.
around people, like in person, like
And I think
real
it's
people.
like, it's really easy to get sucked into negativity. And if
Yeah.
you're putting yourself into that space and that situation all the time, that's
Mhm.
all you're going to view from life. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
take a,
It'll just be like a
well,
feedback loop at that point, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, all bad.
Technically, we've already talked about the last two, which was have video tutorials and photos and patterns babied makers into not knowing how to read a pattern, and what's the obsession with knitting slash crocheting quickly? And I feel like we
Mhm.
kind of answered both of those. Okay, so the very end of my Instagram lives, which you have been on before, we do a lightning round.
Yes.
So you do not get to think about these answers. You have to answer as quick as possible.
Okay, okay. Quick,
Quick.
quick. All right. Okay, okay. I'm ready. I'm
Okay.
ready. I'm ready. Go.
I know it's always like coffee or tea,
Coffee.
Tunisian or granny squares.
Ooh. Granny squares. Oh no.
Okay, Tunisian or just crochet?
Probably Tunisian. Yeah.
Favorite weight of yarn?
DK all day.
Morning, noon, or late for crafting?
Late, late, late. Very late.
I'm don't go to bed after 11. I'm like a cranky bitch the next morning. Your go-to crochet stitch.
Ooh, probably a granny stitch.
Ooh.
So
Do you
boring.
do you swatch every time?
Hell no. Who does? Oh my God. Don't lie. Don't lie, y'all. You don't swatch every time.
What crochet tool can you not live without?
Ooh, probably my 5 millimeter crochet Clover Amour hook. That's my favorite.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Chunky or fingering weight?
Ooh, fingering.
Audiobooks or handheld books?
Audiobooks all day. I ain't got time.
Audiobooks or podcasts?
Ooh, audiobooks. I never warmed to podcasts. Never got there.
I do it for like small business tips. Like I'm a
Mm,
suck. Like,
yeah,
give me that. Solid yarn or variegated?
variegated.
Favorite color to work with?
Pink, all the pink.
Me too. Hooks, metal, wood, or plastic?
Metal, baby, all day.
Okay, and the last question, which you got wrong the last time I asked this one, favorite Canadian?
You!
Yay!
I got it right this time.
Last time you said Todd, and I was like, son of a bitch.
As soon as you said it, I was about to say Todd, and she was like, "No, I got it wrong last time." So it must be you.
I get it. Todd is a wonderful human.
He
I know that
is.
no one's here for me. They're all here for Todd.
This is how I feel about my mom being around. I'm like, you guys were hanging tough with me for like a good 8 years. My mom shows up, and what am I, chopped liver out here? Like, nobody cares.
Oh my God. I love it. Well, thank you for joining and like chatting, doing all the hot takes and like actually taking time to be able to answer a bunch of them. If you have
Gladly.
anything to plug, you've got a minute.
I would love to. Yeah, I guess the main thing that I would love to plug is my membership, the Yarn Hive community. One of the things, like, I think a common theme of what we've talked about is like how frustrating sometimes this maker community can be and how we've devolved into some not great conversations. And the Yarn Hive community has become this like safe and wonderful and positive place for us to, maybe share our discontent, but in like this really respectful and kind way. So, if you're looking for kind of a smaller, more intimate opportunity to engage with the makers, I invite you to the Yarn Hive community. Come check us out. You can do a 3-day trial, and if you love it, you can stick around. We have a good time.
I love it. And also,
Get my book.
give a book.
It's a really good book, though.
It
I'm really
honestly
proud of
is.
it.
It has been the one thing that I'm like, okay, maybe I'll learn how to crochet. I'll do it for Tony.
I
Okay,
love you,
well, thank you guys
Chantal.
so much for joining. And please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of that bullshit. But thanks for hanging out with Tony and I. And thanks, Tony, for joining. We just
Anytime.
never end, but
I
I'll
know.
see you on the flip side.
Bye,
Okay,
babe.
ciao, friend.